Hey, good morning guys, Tush coming at you, Saturday, December the 16th, and not quite the early start that I was hoping for, but we enjoyed our morning anyway. We got out in the garage this morning and had a bit of a cleanup, put some tools away, did a little sweeping, so we're happier to start the work day today in a little bit more organized space. Anyway, we're back working on this piece this morning, or this afternoon actually, and we're going to work on getting this piece back in better condition. So what we're going to do is we're going to fix the bottom flange. This is one of the things I need to do. Then I want to fix this piece here, and I've got that piece here that I cut out, and this is where the double thickness of metal came in to play that I discussed yesterday. Anyway, this has got a bit of a bracket on the back of it that held the relays for the car, so we're going to want to put that back in place at some point. I think what I'm going to do that for now is I'm just going to square this piece off, so I'm just going to repair this to this edge here, and then we'll make another piece to bring this up higher. We'll probably bring it up to here, finish this piece off, and then we'll worry about putting that top flange on at a later time. So anyway, we're going to work on this bottom flange repair first, get that looking better. We'll probably do this flange as well. It's looking a little rusty, so we'll probably repair that flange, and then we'll move forward. That's the plan. So we've got that one flange welded on and ground down. We're just working on the other flange piece. So I've got a piece cut here. We're just going to tack this on. We'll do the same thing. Tack it on, fully weld it, and then grind it down. Then we can move on to the next repair section. See if I can get this even. Not welding my hand. Where's my welding magnets? Oh, there they are. See, if I didn't have you on the tripod, you wouldn't have to see me screwing around so much. Something like that's probably going to work. Okay, tacked into place. And we'll weld that solid. Let me just get my helmet here. Again, this is not going to work because of my stupid halogen light. It's not going to let me weld. Nope, can't see a thing. Anyway, trust me, I'm going to weld it. Alright guys, we're going to fix the missing piece here. Unfortunately, it's not going to be as pretty as someone like Jade Muttley or Ellen would do. I'm not going to do the wooden buck thing. I'm just going to close this out. I'm just going to do a straight piece. All I've done is I've put that piece there. We're just going to cut that out. We're going to weld it in up to this point. So it's really not going to have the round terminating end. It didn't have it on the other piece anyway. Somebody had already sort of screwed around with that area. So anyway, it is going to be what it is. Alright guys, just coming up to 6:20 and haven't made a ton of progress. Just been plugging away. Anyway, we've got this other piece welded back in here now. It's not ground down very well on the outside, but it's not a side that anybody but me is going to see. It does look pretty good on the inside, much better than it did. So we're just concerning ourselves now with this little area here, which really needs to look sort of like this to finish the end of it. So we're going to try to make something that will work on this end. So I've just taken sort of a template off of this end, and I'm going to try to fashion something by hand that will work to finish this end cap before we close it off to the rest of this side panel. So that's where I'm at. So we're going to play around a little bit. Hopefully we don't get frustrated and just go inside. Hey, good morning guys. Tush coming at you. It's Monday, December the 18th, and we're back on the TR250 today. After spending a good day yesterday playing around on Ellen's GT6. It was a lot of fun. I left off at this little patch piece that I was working on, and unfortunately I don't think I sort of finished out the night by giving you an update, but there's what the, I know that light is in the way, but there's what that patch turned out to be. I did end up making a little bit of a pressed panel here with my air hammer. Doesn't look too bad on the inside, and that's the important bit. So we do have a little angle bracket to go welded on the back here that holds the relay, so we're going to weld that in before we weld the plate in. But it's looking not too bad, and remember this drip channel actually butts up against that and it gets welded to that, so we'll have to weld that in at some point as well. But yeah, it's looking not too bad. So we're going to finish up this area. We'll get this area finished up, and then we'll work on this ugly looking area up the front. We'll probably end up cutting out most of this scrap here and putting a new piece in there as well. So that's what we're up to today. So let's get going. Alright guys, here's a little bit better look at this piece. You can see I've got a bit of a hole there that I need to, actually, is that a hole? Or just a void? Actually, I think it just needs to be ground down there. Yeah, you can see the weld sort of sitting proud there. I obviously didn't weld that, or I didn't grind that very well. Anyway, what I need to do, as I mentioned, I also need to fix this is the important side. This is the show side, which will show inside the car. So that's actually not looking too bad. So what I need to do is I need to remove this bracket here, which held a relay, and this gets fastened on the back of here in some way, shape, or form. Something came out like something like there, that area there. So we're going to bend ourselves up a new bracket, and we're going to weld this new bracket in. We'll figure out exactly where it goes before we weld it, but that's what we're up to. We're also going to drill that bottom flange. We need to drill that for some plug welds. So we've got the drill standing by. So we'll get those holes drilled out, and we'll get to attaching it to the car shortly. So this is that little bracket piece that we're fabricating, which is this piece here that we're trying to recreate on the back of this piece here. And I've just sort of marked it out. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that or not. In between here, that bracket needs to fit. So we'll, so basically it came off something like this. That's where the cut line was. So we'll fit it back in there, probably about that distance from the bottom. We'll plug weld it in there. So we're going to cut this out now. Here we go, got it marked out already. Got it measured out, marked out. Hardest part is bending down to pick it up off the floor. Okay. We'll use my brake. and my precision bending tool. Are you ready? That's precision. Okay, we'll clean this up. I have no idea whether you're in view or not. We're going to clean it up, drill a few areas for plug welds, and we'll weld it to the back of that plate. Pretty exciting. Well, it's a sad day in tool land today. My trusty DeWalt 4.5-inch angle grinder has given up the ghost, it seems. It's been through quite a few restorations with me, so dead as a doornail. So I might have to take it apart and try to fix it, but for now we're gonna have to swap it out with a cheap Mastercraft Canadian tire grinder. So we'll do the swap out. Poor thing. Gotta get used to my own welder again. Let's see if I can plug these guys. Hope it's straight. I just eyeballed it. Famous last words. I just used the bottom line of this this little stamping there to line it up, so hopefully it's close. If not, don't look at it. Okay, one more. Watch your eyes. So we got penetration on the back. That's looking pretty good. So there's my my bracket. So we'll continue on. Alright guys, just a quick shot of it. All the welding has been done on the outside, and the plugged welds have been done along the bottom and along the edge here. I managed to drill one extra hole for a plug weld that's not there. So there was the hole I was talking about. I've just done a big rose weld over the top of that. We'll grind that down, so let's close that hole up. We'll clean these through welds up and get the grinder out, and at some point we'll have to jump inside the car and finish weld the inside, but it's looking pretty good at the moment. I'll give you a shot of that after I get this ground down. Alright guys, we've got this piece ground down now. It looks not too bad. I haven't fully ground it. You're never going to see this side anyway, so it's not really necessary to do that. So I've left these welds a little bit proud down here, but it looks not too bad. I'll show you a quick shot of the inside, which is the more important side, and I think that looks okay. Let me just wander around here and zoom in for you. Alright, so that area looks pretty good. Obviously needs some seam sealer around the bulkhead and the bottom. and obviously needs to be finish welded there at the front. But other than that, I think it looks pretty good. It looks a lot better than it did. So back to the other side. Oop, going zoom the wrong way. Back to the other side. So here's what the next step is going to be. I'm going to finally start building up this flange here. So what I've decided to do is I've actually welded this already, but we're going to probably end up cutting this down about here and just underneath these holes. We'll cut this all the way along this edge, right? We'll remove that piece, we'll bring the piece up to here, to the corner where it should be, and then we'll bring it back over to here. Then that weld, where I weld that new piece on, will actually be held by this inner drip channel that's going to go on here, and obviously I'm going to have to extend the flange on this drip channel as well, which is not a bad thing because it's looking a little bit worse for wear. So we'll just probably cut that a little bit lower, extend that up, and then we'll join it up with the outer flange. So that's what the plan is. So we'll get to work doing that. Once we do that, next step for us will probably be to tackle the front area where we need a lot of work done in this area. And again, it's probably going to be cutting out of a bunch of metal and welding in some new metal and extending that flange up as well. And then of course we've got to do something with the middle piece, which I'm unable to fix as well as I would like, but we'll have to figure something out to do with that edge as well. All right, we'll be back. All right guys, we've got our template made for that patch piece along the top of the inner fender, and I'm not sure whether you can see that or not. I'll see if I can zoom in a little bit. You can see it's just about, I would say it's about a 1/4 inch above the existing flange running forward, so that's just about right. So we're going to create this piece and we are going to tack weld it in. We'll probably, after we tack it, we'll probably do a fender fitment just to see if we're along the right lines as far as it fitting towards the top of the fender, the outer fender flange, to make sure that we're going in the right direction before we weld it in solid. So anyway, we'll make this patch, we'll tack it in, and we'll do a fit check. And we'll come back. Alright guys, we've got that piece tacked in there. And like I mentioned, we're not going to go any further until we do a fender fit check. It may not look very significant until you look at the inside and you get a better idea of how far down that flange was, particularly back in this area. I know it's a little proud of this area, it needs to be trimmed down a little bit, but you can see how much lower the flange is than it was supposed to be. So anyway, like I said, we'll next steps is to do a fender fit check before we fully weld that, and then obviously we need to reattach this gutter piece after we extend that flange up as well. Alright guys, we'll come back. I think it's a bit time for a break though. Alright guys, just did a quick check with the fender fitment and I think we're good to go. So we're going to fully weld this piece in now, and then we're going to move on to the next section, which I will probably move to the front actually first before I repair the center section. So next area will be the repairs down here after I get this fully welded. So we're going to work on that now. Okay, while we're waiting for the welds to cool up there, we're going to start working on the nose of this, and we're going to cut out some crap here. So here's the piece that we removed, and you can see it's kind of worse for wear. We're going to recreate this piece, but I think what I'll do is I'm going to actually trim this just probably about half to 3/4 inch below here, and we're going to get rid of all this old stuff here. So when I weld this back in, you're not going to see those welds anyway, because this is going to hide the welds for the inner panel. So we should be good to cut that where we want to and not have to worry about seeing welds from the inside of the car. So anyway, we're going to grab a Sharpie, we're going to mark that out, and we're going to give it a cut. Alright, so we've cut that outer piece off, and there's what it looks like. We just cleaned it up a little bit, so it doesn't look too bad there. Obviously this is not an original cut. I'm not sure what's going on there, but hopefully it's going to be partially covered by that drip channel. Here it is, the look of it from the outside. So it doesn't look too bad. Here's the piece that we cut off. So it's seen better days. So we will endeavor to make a new piece, obviously higher than this piece was, and we will weld that on. But first we want to go back here and finish weld this. So we're going to do that now. Alright guys, we've got that area now ground down, and again I've ground it pretty close to being flush, but I've left a little bit of extra weld on there. I didn't want it to get too thin. Again, it's not an area where you're going to see it. So I think what we'll do now is, it's starting to get a little late, it's 8:30, but I think what we'll try to do is we'll start work on this patch up here. So we'll try to make a template using the old scrap we cut out, and make a new piece for there that's obviously going to be higher than the old piece, and we'll see if we can at least maybe get it tacked in there tonight. We'll see. Anyway, we'll go do that now. This nose patch has turned out to be a real pain in the butt to get fitted. Anyway, I think we're on the home stretch, hopefully. Not sure if you're just going to be able to see my head here, probably. Probably the back of my head. That's a nice back of my head. Anyway, let's see if we can get this fitted in here. Tack it up, tack it up. Buddy, gonna shut you down. Watch your eyes. Okay. It's a tricky little patch, to be sure. Actually, it's a big patch. Let's throw one here. Okay. One here. Pretty riveting video, isn't it? A little tight here. Might be able to pry that. Okay, I think that's it for you tonight. We'll come back in a couple minutes and I'll show you a quick look at that before my battery is completely dead. Alright guys, final update of the night. It's 9:45 and we stayed up past our bedtime and we welded that flange in. I think that looks pretty good. So we'll grind that down tomorrow. Have a look at the inside. I've just again clamped up the old flange up on the inside so you can see that light's kind of playing havoc with us, but you can see how much more flange I have to work with all the way over. So just that center section left, again about a 1/4 inch or so on that center section and we should be good. So anyway, we'll get back out here tomorrow and hopefully we'll finish off this flange and be done with it. And then we'll move on to something else.